All right, one more thing here on Locked On Heat presented by Gametime. It's a buy or sell edition. Did the Heat reveal the 5 players that they want back next season? So this is a tweet from Playbook Sports. The caption is, the Heat are promoting the 5 players they want back on their roster next season, question mark, thinking face, eyeball emoji. And on it is a slideshow of the Heat's recent Instagram posts highlighting Bam, Tyler Hero, Davion Mitchell, Kel'el Ware, and Nikola Jovic. So Playbook Sports is asking, are the Heat doing this on purpose? It is conspiracy theory on Heat Twitter. I love it. But David, are you buying or selling that these are the 5 players that the Heat want back next season?
I'm buying that those would probably be the 5 players they'd want back. I'm selling the idea that the Heat would be so conscious about it that they'd be like, no, we're only going to promote. Screw you, Pelle Larson. I mean, like, I don't think they're deliberately going out of their way to target. I haven't seen the social media posts. I don't know if it was.
It is the
that way.
Just for a clarification, it's those videos that they've been doing, like those sit downs that they've been doing, and like the behind the scenes, like Kel'el Ware's in the gym, and then that sit down with Davion Mitchell. So like all the players that they've been promoting have been those players. I will also say this: Jaime Jaquez Jr. was just at a Heat camp thing, and there's going to be posts about him too if there's not out there already. So
yeah, for sure.
That kind of throws a wrench into this whole conspiracy, but I thought it'd be a fun buy or sell segment. So here we are.
But yeah, I know. I think it is interesting. Like I think there's enough there where you could look at those players, and obviously Bam, Tyler, Ware, Mitchell. I think so. I think they view him in that regard. Do they view him
risky though? He's a free agent, right?
Right. Who were we missing there of those 4? And then
I'm not sure who you said, but it was Davion Mitchell, Nikola Jovic, Kel'el Ware, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Hero.
It's Jovic, okay. So of the young players, if you want to put it that way or categorize it that way, of the young players on this roster, is Nico the one with the most value, at least in terms of what the team is looking of? And I would say that's probably the case. Just he's like we talked about it with Keith Smith in yesterday's episode, and how the league views him. He's made upgrades. He's improved himself. He's gotten better defensively. He's worked on building himself up physically. And yet injuries are continuing to be a factor, and that kind of hinders any kind of consistent growth. But look, we saw this with Tyler. 1 year you're fragile. The next year you're almost an all-NBA type player. I mean, that's a pretty big leap. If you can just have that 1 year where you can prove that fragility isn't necessarily an issue, then I can understand why the team would view him as highly as they do, because the skill is there. It's tantalizing, the potential of what he brings to the table. Other than that, yeah, I don't know that you could commit to any other player. Like I'm sure that they have respect for what Andrew Wiggins does, and Duncan's been a part of this team for such a long time that that he's valued. But there's also the reality of the financial structure of the salary cap and today's league, and the ability to move off of that deal. I think it's certainly a tempting one for the Heat front office. Are they out on Jaime already? I would say not. I don't think so. I think they still believe in what he could do. I know it's a different team than the one that acquired him in the draft, but I still think that they know that he had a bad year. But I think they're also aware of the reasons why he had a bad year, and they're not giving up on him that quickly. I think it's just funny. Like 1 year ago, he was viewed as, well, he's a really solid player. He's got this potential, and he had a great rookie season. And then he struggles as a sophomore. It's like, wow. Clearly, he already plateaued, and you're not going to get much out of him. And look, I've been guilty of it myself. But I wonder. I'm starting to believe now that maybe he might still have another level to reach, and that he can do that with a Heat uniform.
I think the Jaime Jaquez thing is interesting. We know this, that development is not linear. I think that's going to be very true for Jaime Jaquez Jr. I think he's still very capable of being a very good player, despite what that second season was.
Yeah.
And this is why when he first sort of burst onto the scene, you had local media people talking about, oh, the Heat think that this guy's going to be an all-star and all this stuff. And I was like, can we just pump the brakes on that for a second? Yes. Like, the guy had 8 good games. Can we just chill for a minute because, Heat fans fall into this trap all the time with young players of has a good stretch, immediately is going to be the next face of the franchise. And you're just like, whoa. Let's just see how this goes. And then what happens is you put those huge expectations on a player, and then
Right.
when they don't reach those outside expectations, the fans turn against them.
Yep.
And that's what happened with Jaime this past year. It's what's happened with Tyler Hero in his career. It's happened with countless Heat players. I make a joke all the time. Heat fans are the best at hating their own team. And Jaime was a great example of that this past year. So I do think that Jaime is a good basketball player. I think he's better than what he showed in his second year. I think he's going to be a lot better. For context, a little bit more, I do want to look at the rest of the Heat's social media stuff. But before we do that, today's one more thing on Locked On Heat is brought to you by Gametime. There's nothing like the NBA playoffs, the intensity, the buzzer beaters, the fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere you must experience live. And this year's matchups are already delivering. If you want in, Gametime makes it easier and fast to get seats, even for the biggest playoff games. Prices on the app actually drop closer to tip-off, and with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees, Gametime is a total game changer. The NFL schedule release just dropped, and you better believe we're already looking at the fall calendar and picking which games to go to. Gametime makes scoring NFL tickets just as easy. And with the Gametime guarantee, your tickets are 100% authentic, will arrive on time, and you'll always get the best price with fees included. So what you see is what you pay. If you've never used Gametime to grab NFL seats, now's the time. It's seriously a game day upgrade. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. I'm going to show you on the YouTube here for the YouTube audience. So here is the Instagram post in question that inspired the theory. So it's Bam, Tyler, Nico, Davion, and Kel'el Ware. Since then, they have posted this about Jaime. It's talking at the junior Heat camp. So I guess that debunks that rumor a little bit more. And then we've got a carousel of Davion Mitchell, Nico, Duncan Robinson, Kashad Johnson, Pelle Larson. So now everybody's untouchable, I guess, David. Because that feels like most of the roster. Is that a subtle shot at Andrew Wiggins? You tell me.
Josh Christopher clearly not loved by the Miami front office anymore.
Quick note on Josh Christopher. I just found this out. He's not going to be back on a two-way contract next year because he's got too many years of experience. So he'll be done. And I would imagine he's probably not getting a 15-man roster spot in Miami just based on what he showed. So I think the Josh Christopher era for the Heat is also over.
Unfortunate.
That's what it is. To make a roster spot somewhere else, but Miami, it's done.
Just didn't get the playing time. Yeah. Again, I don't think there's any way that you can look at whatever they post via social media and say that this is going to be definitive. Like there are no subtle signs like this. Like you go back to 2014 and LeBron's departure, and tracking airplanes and the color changes of the font on the LeBron website and stuff like that. Like, I mean, maybe somebody as egomaniacal as LeBron, maybe you could kind of tie those things together a little bit. But a team as stable and consistent as Miami's, you think they're going to target like what players? Like they're going to deliver subtle hits, not so subtle hits apparently.
Well, not only
other players,
that the front office, that Pat Riley would deliver subtle hints to the social media team and be like, "Hey, can you post this in this order?"
Yeah.
Like I don't know that Pat Riley's ever been on the Heat's Instagram page.
Yeah.
On an Instagram page. I don't know that he's done that. I don't know that he knows how to get onto an Instagram. So, yeah, the fact that anybody in the Heat's front office, because let's be very clear, the people who run, I can't believe we have to explain this. The people who run social media are not the people who run basketball operations for the Miami Heat.
Whoa. It's not closely linked there. Like they're not making those kind of decisions.
I don't think
Tyler's really good on camera. So
is
Uber Max,
right.
like I mean, give him the deal.
I would be surprised if the people on the social media team have even spoken to anybody in basketball operations since the end of the season.
Passing the hallways.
I don't know that they're in the hallways. I don't know what the I don't know.
They are. They are in the hallways. They share office spaces.
Who needs office space? Your job is posting on social media. What do you need an office for?
You get a cubicle.
I don't know. It feels like remote work to me, but I could be wrong. I'm happy to be corrected. I know I'm wrong. Actually, I know that they have a space in the Heat's building, but and they do terrific work. They're just not involved in basketball decisions. I feel like I insulted the social media team somehow by implying that they don't make basketball decisions.
No, I think that's a pretty easy remark to make. I don't think that's not really a hot take to say that.
Right. They do things that Pat Riley could never dream of, the social media team.
Absolutely.
Riley would have no idea how to post a carousel on Instagram. He wouldn't even know where to begin. The social media team has forgotten more about posting on social media than Pat Riley will ever know.
That's fair. I will also say this is important, I think, to note. It's already the off season. Like, despite the fact the finals is taking place, like, you're going to see a lot of smoke, a lot of misinformation, and a lot of accounts now that are going to be looking for clout and trying to stir the pot here. And I think at the risk of patting ourselves on the back a little bit too much, I think that we try so much to avoid that. Like, we'll only talk about things that we'll either provide the caveat and say there's absolutely no reporting on this, we're just kind of theorizing and spitballing, etc. Otherwise, we're only going to talk about things that we think have some legitimacy to them, some actual basketball operations legs to stand on. It's not just, did you see what they posted on Instagram? Clearly they don't care much for, Jaime Jaquez anymore, etc. So I just, be aware as a fan, as a listener of the show. I think our listener base has made it pretty clear that they respect and trust us. And that's not to trash anybody else or throw anybody else under the bus, but just be mindful of these accounts that are going to crop up regularly, and don't read too much into it, because it's just, it's a lot of fool's gold out there. And you want to just be consistent. And look, there's going to be a lot happening. I mean, not just with the Heat, but I think all over the league. And you're going to see a lot of reporting about things that are taking place, and so you want to be able to kind of stay focused and not necessarily lean into it, because it does seem likely. Like, if you can clip something like this and just say, you know what, these 5 players, like I said earlier, a lot of the appeal of those 5 players is that they provide a stability to what, or at least they're a manifestation of Miami's kind of dream team, or what they would like. They want to keep Bam, they want to keep Tyler, they want to keep Kel'el, absolutely, Davion, Nico. Is that the projected starting 5 for next season? The PR team inadvertently let out that Spo's already made a decision before anything else that happens this offseason in terms of any kind of roster moves or anything like that. So, just be mindful of that.
That was a great sales pitch for Locked On Heat. Keep it here on Locked On Heat, the most trusted voice in Miami Heat media. I'll talk to you next time.